All right, cool. So let's see. All right, my bad. Cool. So I'm gonna start doing that. What I said with doing marked up charts on Wednesday, and sticking to just pretty much what we were used to for Saturdays. So yeah, so I'm only gonna break down DXY, EU, EG, pretty much the norm now. So just looking at right pre-market was here, right? I was anticipating, or what I would have wanted to happen, right? In this case, would have been to see Monday and Tuesday, or Monday at least, give us our push up that broke intraday levels of structure, right? Could have even said came out of this POI. Sorry about that. Broke intraday structures, continued, and I really would have wanted this H4 candle to be topped in any way, right? Haven't refined the candle. I'm actually trying to stick more to reactions, though we're finding the exact pinpoint. Helps with win rate, and it makes it a whole lot less stressful whenever you're actually looking for an entry. And I'll explain that in a bit. But I was really wanting to see something happen here and then see the rollover. Unfortunately, right, that's not what we got. Right, it's not what we got. We actually got a deeper retracement, right? Technically broke structure here, right? And now this could easily react from somewhere in this wick and continue lower, or we can even potentially see this H4 candle be tapped, right? Because then if we go from here, right, then here, that means this low failed to break this low, right? Showing an unwillingness, meaning this here is liquidity, and now more so a target. So potentially we could see, this push up, even though it's already Wednesday. I really want to see what happens in this candle of interest, this zone of interest, just to go from there, because it's very, very possible to see this liquidity here be taken, right? We come touch POI, do something, and then come lower, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, our structure is bearish because of this level of structure. Here is broken. We gave a correction, took out equal highs, right? And then gave another push down. So we're still in bearish structure, right? All we're doing is playing inside of the range. So for the most part, I don't see dollar mooning from here. It doesn't make sense, right? Especially when we go into our minor intraday time frames or intraday time frames. Right, so when I'm looking left, right, especially M30, I believe M30 was a candle, right, we can see that this was our final push down that took out this wick here, right, and then gave the impulsive reaction, meaning there's some type of SC here. So what I did here, right, that's a massive candle, obviously, so I first went to M10, I believe, yeah, and I saw this candle here, right, so I saw this candle here and I highlighted the whole thing, right? Because the top could be inefficiency. The top of the candle could be inefficiency there, that inefficiency. Or we could even reach this actual body because it took out previous liquidity and potentially mitigated something down here. So that was a point of interest. Then there was also right, this potential candle here, M5, which is inside of the M10, right? And then there was even an M4 candle, which I'm going to show you guys. right? M4 candle here, and then there was also this last wick, right, that potentially mitigated this candle here and then went, right? So there's two potential areas of interest inside of our overall point of interest. So I just want to see a reaction and see what happens there, right? But this is what's interesting here, right? We tapped this M10 here, but we didn't tap the M5, and we left relative, we left relative equal lows there, right? So if these aren't considered mitigations in my eyes, especially because they're equal lows there, as you can see. So that's signifying to me that we didn't technically mitigate this point of interest. We didn't mitigate this point of interest. All we did, right, was essentially test it and leave liquidity behind. And in my eyes, that does not signify bullish order flow, even though we came back to tap this inefficiency fill. That order flow is what's creating this upside move, right? But because this happened here, I'm not so much inclined to believe that this is going to be the reaction that then, you know, leads on to take out highs and full on structure break and even break up here, right? So I'm not convinced about that reaction there. I don't like those equal lows sitting there. But it has caused a reaction, and we have an intraday break of structure. So this could easily be the initiation of the pullback, and then that could head lower, right? Because also, if this isn't a valid SC, which in my eyes it is, eventually price has to come tap here, right? So if anything, the higher the better, right? But if we do start moving up higher, I do want to see this liquidity be taken and then see what happens in that H4 point of interest. Right, going on to EU, right, that's pretty much the inverse. And there was actually a setup here, even though it wasn't technically too pro trend, right? The only reason I would have even wanted to take the sell position is if I was already in buys here, right? Just want you guys to know that. Right, so this was a M45 candle. Juan posted this, I believe, when price was like around here-ish. He posted this candle here, point of interest. That topped, right? And as we're looking at structure here, looking at our intraday structure, right? Something to keep in mind is, like I said, this wasn't really pro trend because this is our overall major intraday leg, right? This low created this high that took out this structure point. So it's still technically bullish structure, right? Even now, if you were to take a buy position here, even though it's not according to the correct time of day, in my opinion, to trade, it's still considered valid in terms of structure because this is still technically bullish structure until, shut up, fuck. All right. So technically, this is still bullish structure, even though we did present something during London last night, which was, right, this is our final push up. I believe it was a M4 candle. Yeah, M4 candle here. M4 candle, M3 candle. Right, and when it comes to these pretty much counter trend non-hedge positions, right, I would be very, very conservative about it, which means that even though this is a point of interest, right, I wouldn't have taken it there. I wouldn't have taken it here, right? In fact, as we're looking at structure here, right, low that creates a high that takes out this previous high, low goes to high that takes out this high. Those are your structure points. Then this low is now taken, right? So once this low is taken, I now want to see points of interest because we just reacted from a POI that reacted from another POI, right? And all we're doing now is trying to continue order flow and go lower. Right, so I look at M4, right, and I see a candle that took liquidity, mitigated the H1, the previous M3, M5 candle, right, and then led to a scalp break of structure All we did there is come back, even tapped it again, probably mitigated something on seconds time frame here, right? But this is our point of invalidation, meaning this short position would have been 3.5, 3.2, which then went on to a 11-1 and trailing 13-1. All right, not bad at all. Pretty big stop, but that's okay. As long as the execution is there, risk is managed, then that's fine. But yeah, other than that, EU sloppy. I really want to see what happens when DXY touches these points of interest, and this pretty much more what I'm going to be following over EU, right? Even though I'm taking the trades on EU, I do want to see what DXY says, especially for the rest of the week, right? Because this weekly closure is not looking good, right? Not looking good. If we actually do that push down and then start coming up, right? But who knows? We'll see. EU, we already talked about this one. EG, right? So this is a cool one, interesting one, right? Overall, we are still bearish, right? Overall, still bearish, as we said on Saturday, right? But the concerning thing here is this, right? The strong momentum that came out of nowhere after a daily liquidity grab, right? Which was there, right? The liquidity grab there, right? So this strong momentum, right, broke intraday levels of structure, but our overall swing is still intact, right? But the issue with this momentum, right, is this corrective move, right? So what we were talking about, right, potential scenarios here was potentially we'd come down and continue all the way lower, right? Or we could even start going up from here. But I was more so focusing on not necessarily where price is going to go, but how long it was going to take to get there, right? So even though we started moving down, it literally took 2.5 days for it to come all the way down here, right? Which in theory, right, means that it's slow momentum to one side, so naturally it has to go to the other side, right? But we need a reason for it to flip in order to change a bias, right? So the first point of interest was that inefficiency fill on the daily right here, right? Daily inefficiency fill, and all I was doing from there is trying to, right, pick out any types of points of interest that support that daily point of interest. All right, so as I was looking at price here, right, everything for the most part seems mitigated right here until even this candle here, this candle mitigated this candle, then went up, right? And then this wick, this candle here, mitigated potentially structure here, or even mitigated this candle here. So I have 2 points of interest. I want to see what happens, right? And it's even happened during session, which is why I'm kind of sad that I missed this one, right? Because I literally just saw it like 5 minutes too late. Here. All right, so as we're approaching, right, a point of interest, right, high, low, high, low, high, low. This is, right, pretty much our minor intraday leg here, right? So as we approach our point of interest, right, as you can see, it even took the liquidity of the point of interest, right? And from there, we gave this rally upwards, right? Signifying bullish momentum, bullish intent, because it broke scalping structure and it just reacted from a potential area of interest. And keep in mind, we're still on a daily inefficiency fill. And even though it's not perfect, right, since it's in the daily time frame, I still consider this overall area a key point of interest because of that daily candle. Right, so from there, I believe it was M3, M4. Okay, yeah, so this originated from this M4 wick, because this wick is what took out the point of interest and took out the previous liquidity before giving us the full reaction. So that's our initial point of interest. And as And as we come back into it, you can see there is a inefficiency here, right? Meaning your risk is about 2 pips. Yeah, 2 pips. All right, and from here, right, we now move up, break structure here, right? Stop loss from here at break even. And the last potential POI that would make sense to me would have been this inefficiency fill, or potentially an SC inside of there. So if we would have crossed this, pretty much this point here, then this setup is invalid, right? But obviously from there, right, we just pretty much ranged and then create a new higher high. And then right at the new day open, this happened and it mitigated, I believe it was M5. Yeah, M5 inefficiency here. Mitigated this right at 4 p.m., right at the daily open. Right, so not something that's tradable, but good to notice. And now that created this move up. Right, but I don't like that. I don't like how a 4 p.m. move is dictating this move up. I don't like that. But it doesn't make sense in terms of time, right? So this could this could even, right, still reverse on us and then completely just die off here, right? So personally, I was looking at this when price was here, right? I would have loved to see pretty much something in London here, right? Give me a spike down, break a structure, take my entry, and then go higher, right? Because this is pretty much a big point, right? Because if we break this high here, then I'm probably going to start looking for overall buys on this, right? Because we now have a daily liquidity grab on top of a very, very good closure, right? We came back, mitigated it on weak bearish volume, right? And these H4 candles are looking strong, right? So this is pretty much the area that I'm checking for tonight to see, to pretty much dictate my bias for the rest of the week. And yeah, go from there. Is it lagging? If it's lagging, it's definitely Zoom. That's not a me issue. That's a Zoom issue. But yeah, other than that, what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think about me marking up charts beforehand instead of doing everything pretty much raw? Yeah, we could start doing this more often. And I mean, if anything, the recordings have now been, it's only been 18 minutes. Yo, fucking. Yeah, it's time, yeah. Nah, but I mean, I've been sitting on this screen for like, I've been sitting here since like 7:45, just working on everything. The cool thing to this though is that my charts will be marked up for tomorrow morning. Right, I'll just have to look, find points of interest in the morning, and then go from there. It's not, instead of having everything in my head now, I have it on the screen. But yeah, other than that, do you guys have any questions? We didn't even look at GU. I know we talked about it on Saturday, right? But wow, yeah. When did market open? Market open here, yeah. Sloppy. This looks bullish in my eyes still too. Besides the fact that we just did not take out that high. Interesting. We have an interesting closure to the week. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? Anybody? Good over here. Cool, cool. Hope everyone's well too. Rona cases are on the uptrend again. Yeah, do we have anybody here that's not in the US? Yeah, I think we do. Vaccine finally getting progress though. Yeah, right. Right after elections too, right? How convenient. But yeah, let's go ahead and end the recording there.